All right, breaking news, gold soars past $1,400 an ounce as President Obama continues his overseas tour. The United States is drowning in debt, and now the Republican-controlled House has some serious issues to tackle. Let's welcome back Peter Schiff from Euro Pacific Capital. Peter, what's happening? Will we ever get out from this pile of debt that Judge Napolitano just referred to in the prior block? Will we? How can we get out, Peter?
Well, there's only two ways. We can repudiate through inflation or default, but we can't pay it back. That's just a foregone conclusion. In fact, if you look at this discussion that's going on right now, sitting U.S. senators are saying on national television, if we do not increase the debt ceiling, we will default. We cannot pay our bills. Now, imagine American creditors in China, in Japan, listening to this discussion. We are admitting that if we can't go deeper into debt, if we can't borrow more money, then we're not going to pay back the money that we already borrowed. It's an official admission that we're running a Ponzi scheme. Anybody that hears that, they're just going to sell every treasury they own. I mean, why would you loan money to a country that admits they can't pay you back? Agreed.
But why haven't they done that yet? Why now are we saying it's a Ponzi scheme and they're going to say no more? We're not going to loan you anymore. Don't they risk this being the biggest economy on the planet by far? Don't they risk if we do default? That's bad for them too.
No, it's propping us up that's costing them a fortune. You know, if you look at what's going on, the last Treasury bond auction before the Fed announced this QE2 was a very, very weak auction. So demand was already running thin. If you look at what's happening to gold and silver price in the last few days, in the last week, you know, there are silver stocks that I own that are up 50% since last week. Something is going on. I think you're starting to see more of a parabolic increase now in the price of gold and silver because people are waking up and figuring out what is going to happen to the value of the dollar and other fiat currencies if they continue to be debased in line with the dollar.
Peter, keep it on the street level for me here, but Russia and China today said we're concerned about what you're doing over there, Mr. Obama, Mr. Geithner. Should we be concerned that China and Russia are worried about us?
Well, of course, because we are telling them that we're not going to pay them back. We're going to default one way or another. It's either we give them money that has no value or we don't give them money. What we need to do, and what I wanted to do as a senator, and I campaigned, is to stop that debt ceiling from being increased. The U.S. government is collecting a little over $2 trillion a year in taxes. Don't spend any more than that.
Right.
So instead of defaulting on the debt, why don't we just stop spending all this money? Why don't we cut government spending? And ultimately, I believe that even after we take a meat hook to government spending, there is no way we can pay back 100 cents on the dollar. It is impossible. So I think the U.S. government is going to have to restructure its debt.
You and I both know there are very few nations that could pay back 100 cents on their debt dollar right now. I mean, the Ponzi scheme isn't just here in the U.S. It's almost a global Ponzi scheme.
Well, there are a lot of other big debtor nations out there, but there are other creditor nations to whom the money is loaned. But America is unique in the amount of its debt that's held abroad. And the other big problem is we have very short-term debt. Other countries are a little smarter about the way they borrow money. They borrow money and they do it for long-term. We're borrowing money with T-bills. So if interest rates were to move up, I mean, if short-term interest rates...
Why haven't they, Peter? Touch on that. Why haven't they moved up?
Why haven't what moved up?
Rates.
Well, rates are moving up. Look at the 30-year Treasury. It's been inching up every day. It's the highest it's been.
Yeah, but if I'm China and you know, we're into them or they're into us for, I don't know, $2 trillion in debt and currency and whatnot, why not just wake up one day and go, by the way, U.S., we need 5% instead of 1% or 6%?
Look, they're going to. Why? That's one of the reasons, or probably the main reason, the Fed is buying treasuries is because it's trying to bridge the gap between the falling global demand for treasuries and our own issuance of treasuries. But that has to stop because pretty soon the Fed is going to be the only buyer of treasuries, which means interest rates are going to skyrocket for all the bonds the Fed isn't borrowing, which would be municipal bonds, corporate bonds, and then the Fed is going to have to start buying that. I mean, I think pretty soon Ben Bernanke is going to look like the sorcerer's apprentice, trying to take these buckets around to buy all the bonds that everybody is trying to get rid of because all these obligations are future promises to pay dollars, a currency which is in the process of being destroyed.
Right. All right, Peter, we're going to leave it there. Thanks for all the great news.
Okay, but look,
I
hey,
jest.
buy gold and silver. Do something.
Listen. We've been on this for a long time, you and I, Peter. Years, in fact. We've watched gold go higher, and I agree with you.
I didn't watch
higher.
it. I own it. But your viewers to this program, do something. Don't go down with a sinking ship. You don't have a lot of time to protect your wealth. A lot of Americans, most Americans, are going to be bankrupted in this process. The dollar is going to be wiped out. That's going to wipe out the savings of most Americans, their retirement dreams. People have to act quickly to get foreign currencies, foreign stocks, gold. We don't have a lot of time.
We don't have a lot of time either for this segment. We'll have you back very soon. Thank you very much, Peter Schiff.